If you shower or brush your teeth or try to make your hair look presentable, here's some good news. Dollar Shave Club has a lot of stuff to help you out. Dollar Shave Club delivers everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothpaste, hair gel, even a wipe that leaves your tush feeling tingly clean. All of Dollar Shave Club's products are made with top-shelf ingredients that won't break your budget. You'll feel the difference. Plus, shipping is free with your membership. And here's a great way to try a bunch of Dollar Shave Club's products for just $5. You can get their Daily Essential Starter Set. It comes with Body Cleanser, One Wipe Charlie's, their amazing butt wipes, and their world-famous shave butter. And their best razor, the 6-Blade Executive. Keep the blades coming for a few more bucks a month and add in a shampoo, toothpaste, or anything else you need. Check it all out at dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Chad.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
President Trump, in an interview with Fox News, making it crystal clear he's not happy that his former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, made a deal with federal prosecutors.
But if somebody defrauded a bank and he's going to get 10 years in jail or 20 years in jail, but if you can say something bad about Donald Trump and you'll go down to 2 years or 3 years, which is the deal he made.
The president says people make up stories to get out of legal trouble.
It's called flipping, and it almost ought to be illegal.
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
So, I'm going to say something today, kids. Don't fall in love with politicians. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. You can be on any side you want. I'm not here to tell you who you should or shouldn't vote for. I'm just telling you that overall in life, don't fall in love with politicians. Don't fall in love with parties, right? They're going to disappoint. And both parties, if we're honest with ourselves, have been a disappointment, especially in the last few years, right? You know, they've had their moments, but by and large. You know, Trump has a lot of followers. I like a lot of what Trump does. I don't like everything he does. But in this day and age, it's we love Trump, period, case closed. And if you don't love, you're not part of the tribe, and we hate you. The other side is we hate Trump, and if you say anything nice about, we hate you. And you just sit back and you go, wait, what? This, huh? Is this where we are? It is where we are. Don't fall in love with politicians. You can fall in like with politicians, right? It's like that person that you like and enjoy dating, but you'd never marry. The problem is when we fall in love, we tend to overlook things. I'm not talking about guilt or innocence on any of these things. I'm just talking about politics in general. People will read into it what they do. I had somebody, you know what's hilarious? This is a perfect example of the way we are. Somebody tweets at me yesterday. I've hit a new low because I've allowed somebody like Ben Shapiro, apparently he's not conservative enough, to be on the radio. Because he says bad things about our beloved president. Don't fall in love. Fall in like. You can love the actions. But when you fall in love, you overlook so many things. Right? And whether it's President Obama, President Trump, President Bush, whoever, or whether it's a politician, it's an Elizabeth Warren, it's a Ted Cruz. People, they fall in love and they overlook things. Don't do it. It's going to let you down. And you're going to be standing there and go, wow. But we've gotten to that way. We've fallen in love with parties. We fall in love with ideology. We fall in love with, and we don't leave our mind open to other things. And we're also get to the point where we become so rigid that we can't move. We can't bend. We can't. And that's sad in this day and age that we're at this place where we can't do these things anymore. In fact, I was talking, tribalism's to the point now where tribes are breaking up, right, in forming their own tribes. Meaning you're not red enough. This is dark red. This is just red. This is light red. This is purple. This is blue. This is dark blue. This is light blue. This is paisley. That's where we are. Fighting amongst ourselves. We fall in love with ideologies. We fall in love. We make people out to be demigods. You looked at Obama. Perfect example, and you look at Obama. The press fell in love with him. They made him a demigod, so they had to protect him. They didn't vet like you would. Right? They didn't really vet. They didn't do any of those things. So when the right came after him, and the talking heads and the Breitbarts of the world and the Limbaughs and the Hannies and stuff, and they asked questions, it was mean, it was horrible, it was racist, because they didn't want to know certain things about him or his ideology, because they had made him out to be something. Didn't matter. I mean, my God, they gave him a Nobel Peace Prize, and he hadn't done anything. He even joked about it. It's the same thing on the right. For a lot of people out there who support Trump. I want my president to be successful. It doesn't mean I have to love everything he does. But for a lot of people out there, if you dare say a word about their demigod, they're going to come for you. It's ridiculous. It is really ridiculous. Don't fall in love with a politician. Fall in like. There ain't nothing wrong with that. There isn't. Unfortunately, in this day and age, we have made it so it's either this or it's that. There's nothing else. And that's sad. That is absolutely sad that we've gotten to this point where it's this or that. It's so rigid. It's not good. It's not good at all. But unfortunately, we have gotten there. And that's a sad, sad state that we're in right now. It really is. It really, really is. And I don't know what it is. I look around and I see people out there and I think to myself, are you, and it doesn't matter, like I said, because people read into it, you're talking about Trump. No, I'm not talking about Trump. I'm talking about all politicians, right? Just like people don't fall in love, don't fall in hate. Too much. It's too much. Don't you hate people like Pelosi? No, I don't hate Pelosi. I don't know her. I don't hate Chuck Schumer. Don't know him. Don't hate Paul Ryan. Don't know him. Too much effort. Don't like the actions at times that some of these people take. Don't like their politics at times. But they're playing for an audience and a base, and I get that. But we've gotten to that point where there is no middle ground. And that's where we are struggling in this country. It really is. Because we fall in love with an ideology. We fall in love with a politician. We fall in love with a party. And what happens? We overlook a lot of other things. And that's sad. That's sad in this day and age that we've got more information at our fingertips, yet we are narrowing our viewpoints. And that is sad. Very sad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Hope you're doing well on this beautiful day. Trump speaking today, very angry. It's funny, him and Sessions are going at it again. He's still pissed at Sessions because Sessions recused himself.
Even my enemies say that Jeff Sessions should have told you that he was going to recuse himself, and then you wouldn't have put him in. He took the job, and then he said, I'm going to recuse myself. I said, what kind of a man is this?
Still pissed about that. Look, at this point in time, just get rid of him. At this point in time, you don't like the guy. You don't want anything to do with the guy. You're pissed because he didn't give you cover, which is what you wanted. Get rid of him. If that's the way you feel. And I get it, man. I get it. I absolutely get it. So then get rid of him. I mean, can we all agree that it's just time to get rid of him at this point in time? I'm surprised. And raise your hand out there. Who else is surprised that Jeff Sessions has lasted as long as he has? Now, Sessions came out firing today saying, look, the Department of Justice is going to be absolutely fair and it's not driven by politics. And you get those tweets. It's deep state. It's all this kind of stuff. And you shake your head and it's like, whatever. You know, it really just, you sit there and say, well, if you don't like the guy, you think the guy's left you hanging out to dry, and you think the entire Department of Justice is full with nothing but Democrats who are out to get you, I can see why you're pissed. And you tell everybody, this is what it is. Everybody here is on the left side of the aisle. It's all driven by politics. As if politics, you can't be one way or another and have a true, completely non-biased look at something. But if you're that pissed at a guy, can we all agree that if you're that disappointed, because this is about the 50th time he has talked about how disappointed he is, why he shouldn't have hired the guy, what a horrible hire. At times he said, maybe I should do this, or maybe I should get rid of him, or we'll see. At this point in time, I think it's time to just get rid of the guy. One of the other things he said today, and I've talked about this before with impeachment. Impeachment is something the country has to have an appetite for, especially if it is just based on politics. If there's a true crime with Russian collusion, then even the Republicans would go, you know what, we got to get behind this, right? You're Lindsey Graham saying, I don't know if the country has the appetite for that. But one of the things that he talked about today is, and something I always talk about, which is the economy. Because as go the economy, so goes many politicians.
I don't know how you can impeach somebody who's done a great job. I'll tell you what, if I ever got impeached, I think the market would crash. I think everybody would be very poor.
I think the market would struggle. I mean, even when they impeached Clinton, the market was down about, I think it was 20%, 30%. It rebounded, obviously. I don't think everybody would be poor. But I think the confidence in the marketplace it would be definitely an issue here. We wouldn't be stable. What the market likes is stability. It likes predictability. And I think the confidence in the economy would wane, and you would see us head into some sort of recession. Potentially something gnarly, but not as bad as what we saw in 2007. But I don't think everybody's going to be poor. But there's got to be an appetite for it. That's why you don't hear Pelosi and Schumer talk about it, because they know, the fervor on the left from certain parts of the base is go after him at all costs. They realize that overreach will cost them eventually in the long run and potentially make him a martyr to a lot of people out there in the middle, and in 2020 give him another 4 years. They'd rather slow him down, make everything uneasy for him, and make 2 years of hell and hope the market slows down enough and the economy slows down enough that he either steps away or is voted out. But we'll see. It's going to be very interesting. It really, really is going to be very, very, very interesting to see what takes place in the coming weeks. But if I'm him at this point in time, get rid of him. If you're not happy with Jeff Sessions, time to go. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Dollar Shave Club is amazing. I use their amber, this lavender body wash. It's like, I smell delicious. Like, I do. Like, you can probably take a deep whiff. You can smell me through the radio. That's how amazing it is. Everything they have is just top of the line quality. It's incredibly packaged. Your bathroom's going to look great. You're going to look great. You're going to smell great. You're going to feel great. And here's what they're doing. $5. $5. Who doesn't have $5? Who doesn't have $5? That's less than going to a movie. And nobody wants to go to a movie with you anyways because you're not using Dollar Shave Club and you don't smell or look great. Get this. Everybody will want to go to the movie with you. I'll go to the movie with you. Dollar Shave Club, $5 to join. Are you ready for that? Here's what you do, okay? So they've got a few starter sets. You go, you figure out what you want. Like I said, amber lavender body wash. Boom, hit it out the park. But you choose whatever. You can't go wrong with any of them. All you got to do is go to dollarshaveclub.com/chat. dollarshaveclub.com/chat. It's $5 to join. After that, product shipped at regular price. You can try out any of their products. I'm telling you, the hair care products are incredible. Toothpaste, toothbrush, you name it, they've got it. Got a great new video. Check that as well. $5. Check it out. dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. And again, people don't want to go to the movie you? Maybe because you don't smell so good. Dollar Shave Club, you're going to smell great. People are going to want to go to the movie with you. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Pence speaks about Space Force. I'm so excited about Space Force. I really am. Who else is excited about Space Force? And we're going to talk gig economy with a guy from Cornell. Is the gig economy the new American dream? Chad Benson Show.
Feel free to punk this punk rocker any time of the day or night. Reach Chad on Twitter at Chad Benson Show and on Instagram at Chad Benson Show. And oh yeah, the Chad Benson Show on Facebook too. Punk that.
America will lead mankind to the stars once again.
That's where we're headed, man. I'm excited. Who else is excited? I'm telling you, Space Force is going to be awesome. First thing we got to do is conquer the moon.
The time has come, we really believe, for the United States of America to take what we have learned over these so many decades, put your ingenuity and creativity to work,
money,
and establish a permanent presence around and on the moon.
Here we go, kids. Who's ready for that? I'm excited. I know many of you may not be as excited as I am, but Space Force is awesome. And in my lifetime, I plan to live a lot of years. In my lifetime, I know we will be there. We will be on the moon. It's going to be awesome. Space Force. Didn't you know what happens from Space Force, producer Phil, when we have people on the moon? We'll have space cops. Think about that. We'll have space sheriffs. Then we'll have space cop sheriffs. Maybe we'll have a constable. Space Force. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us every single day, lads and lasses. We roll it out to you. We do. In a big ball. Big giant ball. And then you unwrap it. You're like, let's unwrap the layers on this magical thing. And then what do you have? You have this, your urban word of the day.
It's time for the urban word of the day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban word of the day.
Boom. TMI, oversharing. What is that? Too much information. You overshared, right? I needed a little bit of the story. You gave me the gory details. I didn't need everything. Right? I know that you may be sick, but I don't need the blow-by-blow of what's going on. Oversharing. TMI. A little 2-4 right here. That is your urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you. That there was the urban word of the day. We damn stretched your cranium.
America will lead mankind to the stars once again.
Space Force. Hey, Louis Hyman. He's from Cornell. He's a smart guy, professor. He's got a book out called Temp, How America Worked, American Business, and the American Dream Became Temporary. Let's talk a little. Is there a new American dream? Maybe. Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
You sit at a desk. They sit at a desk. You have sales reports. They have book reports. You need supplies. They need supplies. Business is a lot like school. That's why your small business should take advantage of back-to-school deals at Staples. Now Staples 1-inch 3-ring binders are $1.92. 1 subject notebooks are just 25 cents, and 12 packs of ballpoint stick pens are just 97 cents each. Make back-to-school your business at Staples.
While supplies last. Offers end 9/1/18. In-store only, limit 30.
On this episode of the world's shortest sitcom by KFC. So what did we learn today, folks? That's right.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The American dream, it changes all the time, and we've got a new American dream in a world of a gig economy, and you're going to hear a lot of that in the coming future. Joining us now is HYMAN, Associate Professor of Economic History at the Industrial Labor Relations School of Cornell University. He's got a new book out called Temp: How American Work, American Business, and the American Dream Became Temporary. And an amazing book, enjoyable book, and for a younger generation in particular, and yes, even the Gen Xers of the world, a book that I think is a must-read in a world of, I think, an ever-changing American dream. How temporary is the American dream, Professor?
I think that is the most important thing to think about what do we want our country to look like. I think there is an older American dream that's about self-determination and autonomy that resonates with all Americans, but is being lived in this freelance economy. Now, the tricky part is that if you want to be out on your own as an entrepreneur, as a freelancer, it's very hard to get that kind of security that comes with a traditional job of health care and benefits. And so it's a real challenge today, figuring out how we can make that American dream happen in this independent workforce.
You know, in this day and age, I would tell everybody I talk to, it's never been better to earn a living and be your own boss because of technology, because of the opportunities that are in front of us. And but there are still a lot of people out there that want certain securities. But the reality is those securities are fewer and far between in today's world.
Yeah, in the post-war period, we traded security for autonomy. We gave up our own self-determination. You see a collapse of small business in the post-war as people begin to work in 9-to-5 offices or on the assembly line, and they got steady paychecks, but it was soul-breaking work. And so lots of people are looking for an alternative to that and have, also been forced out. That's an important part of the story, too. Deindustrialization, downsizing, now the gig economy, these are all pushing people out into the world. And so it's a hard moment where we're trying to figure out, I think, both on the left and the right, liberals and conservatives, how to address this world. And I think that there is a lot of misplaced nostalgia for the past. And instead of embracing the future, we need to think about how to make a workforce that supports our people and as it supports them in their freedom.
Talking about this world that we live in and the gig economy, or the temp economy, if you will, talking to HYMAN about Temp, his new book, How American Work, American Business, and the American Dream Became Temporary. You talk about the 50s. This is idyllic thought of the 50s, Professor, that we go back and it was this, it's the Leave It to Beaver era and blah, 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 blah. But in a lot of ways, you point out, a lot of it was soul-crushing. Even if it wasn't hard work, it was still soul-crushing. You were under the thumb of somebody, and while it offered you some stability, it didn't offer you dreams, because a lot of people gave up their dreams for a lot of things, and some of it was that stability.
And I think that's something that we really need to take account of. So, there's a lot of naysayers on the independent workforce, but surveys show us that if people are making enough money, not crushing it, but just making enough money as a freelancer, which many millions of people are, they would never go back to a regular job. So it's this tricky thing where we have almost forgotten what it is to be free in our work, and it's something that entrepreneurs get. And so there's a way in which we need to reconsider that. How do we bring that experience to Americans? It's hard because our educational system is set up to teach people to sit in their desk and listen to teacher and obey. And we need to really rethink how we are, as a society, educating the next generation of citizens.
That's one of the things that I talk to people all the time. Living in the world that I do, I was a voice actor for a very long time, and I have friends who are voice actors, and they make a decent living. And for them, it's, they make 70, 80 grand a year. They're able to live in all over the country in places that's affordable. They love the life they lead. Are they making that $300,000, $500,000 a year? No, they're not. But they're happy about that, and they wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And it's never been better to be an entrepreneur ever in the history of the world. But so many people are afraid because technology is involved, and still people are terrified of technology.
Yeah, I mean, technology is getting easier, but what's interesting about it is this is a story that to be part of the digital economy, you have to be a programmer. And it couldn't be further from the truth. This is we're at an amazing time of art and writing and creativity, or simply just being someone who answers the phones, a receptionist in offices. In the book, I tell the story of a woman who lives 2 hours north of Flint, Michigan, and is a receptionist in California. She makes a good living. She lives in a rural community, and this is something that is possible these days. And the story that you have to become a programmer to have a good job is just not true.
No, it's not. It's not true. But it's another one of those things where people don't know. And as we all know, fear gets in the way. And then they don't want to know, and they freak out, and they don't get involved.
Absolutely.
Louis Hyman's joining us. Tempest's new book, How American Work, American Business, and the American Dream Became Temporary. Technology is great. It's amazing. We've got AI, that is growing each and every day, virtual reality. All of these things are starting to blossom. And a lot of people think that technology is going to come in here and it's going to take everybody's job, and we're all going to need some sort of basic income to survive. And that's, again, another one of those fear factors. That's not true, but it's already being built out there as if this is what's going to happen. This is the inevitability of where we're headed.
Yeah, it's one of those stories that's told, usually by people who are technologists, who are programmers. They really believe in the technology, which, I appreciate technology as much as the next guy. But I think that humans will always be valuable. I think a lot as a historian about mechanical threshers, which is not usually part of the conversation on AI. But, the mechanical thresher came in the mid-19th century. Before that, we had to, go in and take in the harvest every year. Now, most Americans were farmers. Now, less than 2% of Americans work in agriculture. And the agriculture that's done is highly automated. It's the place where you can see the bleeding edge of technology. And what it's meant is that we can do other stuff. We can become voice actors. We can become historians. We can become lots of different things. And so I think this is an opportunity, if we make the right choices, to liberate us to be more human, to make us less like beasts of burden. And I think that no matter if you hate your job, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. A human should not do the work of a machine. And I really don't understand the people who are like, I really wish there were more people making change instead of ATMs. That's not where we shouldn't be solving for that. We should be solving for growth and for unleashing human potential in a world that has lots of challenges and needs creative people.
Moving forward, you look out. You look at your historian. Obviously, you've known what's happened in the past. You look back at how everything's changed, from the labor movement to, like you said, the threshers and the manufacturing and how that changed everything. You look out 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now. Where are we headed in this world? Is it going to be more consultants and more gig economy, or is there still going to be a lot of people that will have opportunities to work for the timey kind of corporations, and at the same time there's going to be a lot of people who may hold down 2 or 3 small jobs but enjoy their life?
I think that the corporation will always exist, but it won't be the default option anymore. So I think that we're looking into a moment where it's not exactly clear what the value proposition is of the corporation. An individual can work digitally and globally. An individual can shop. They can manufacture. They can do all the things that it used to need to be part of a corporation to do. And so I think we're going to see just the pretty rapid growth of an independent workforce, of small businesses that become part of networks of the economy that are outside of these big corporations. So we're at this real inflection point, and we have a lot of choices to make about what kind of outcome we want to have.
You think the American dream has changed? I mean, I as a kid growing up, I'm 47 years old. Goodness gracious. I look back and, you were taught, this is the greatest generation. This was their American dream. The baby boomers. It's the, 2.5 kids, the white picket fence and the whole 9 yards. And I look at the American dream and I think it's changed a lot, but some people still hold on to that. Is there still an American dream, or is that now being defined by the individual?
I mean, I like living in a house. I like having a yard, but I don't think that's what the real American dream is. It's kind of a shallow version of the American dream. The real American dream is about freedom. It's about autonomy. And I think this is an opportunity to reclaim that from a consumerist American dream. And I think that it's something that we should be working towards.
Absolutely. How America Works, American Business, and the American Dream Became Temporary. Temp. Great book, Louis Hyman. Appreciate you coming on today, my man. It was interesting. The book is a great read, and I think anybody out there who's looking to move forward in their life and maybe make a change from that dismal job inside of a horrible, I used to call them veal crates, if you will. This is a book for you. I appreciate you coming on today.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. I don't know how people do it. I really don't. I don't know how people go into work every day. I talk to people who work for the weekends. They live for the weekends. And I'm like, there's 5 other days that you hate. I could never do that. I've done that before. Everybody I know has done some sort of soul-crushing work, but some people, they let that define them, and I'm just like, I don't know how they do that. You guys should check this book out by Louis Hyman, Temp, How America Works, American Business, and the American Dream Became Temporary. It's the Chad Benson Show.
A bird in the hand is worth 140 on Twitter, so tweet your beak off at Chad Benson Show Twitter. And if instant gratification is your thing, hit Chad up on Instagram at Chad Benson. Your bird will thank you.
Oh, it is one of the longest-running television shows. In fact, multi-camera it is, and it is coming to an end next year.
Our universe was in a hot, dense state that nearly 14 billion years ago expansion started. Way back, science history, unraveling the mystery that all started with a Big Bang.
Yeah, it's over. It's done with. They said that is as far as they're going to go. The money they made on the show is ridiculous. They're getting $1 million an episode, minus Jim Parsons, who is the reason they're stepping away. And yeah, look, there's going to be spinoffs. And then you wonder, well, how long are they, because these characters, Friends, you needed everybody. Now, they're talking about a Friends reunion, could be another one of those things. Jennifer Aniston was actually the one who broached the subject. So, but with these characters, you can spin off a few of these characters. Now, Sheldon's already got the Young Sheldon show. But, Jim Parsons said it was time to move on. And I don't know what I bet he's getting $2 million an episode. Everybody else get $1 million an episode? Would you complain about $1 million an episode? Would you? I don't know. I think I'm going to not complain about it. In 2016, he was getting $1 million an episode. That is going to be upped this last year. Good for him. Take it while you can get it, right? Then you say, okay, what happens from here on out? Do you think if you're in a position like that, that you feel like you're killing the golden goose? God, as much as I want to stretch, right? As much as I want to do, because I can do other things, right? But this is a golden goose, right? I mean, I got enough money, and I want to try other things. And the funny thing is, whenever I see him in anything else, it's basically just Sheldon. That's what it feels like. I don't know. We'll see. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Love hearing from you. Doesn't matter what you want to say. Look, I take the good, I take the bad. I'm okay with it. I got no problem with it. I just like hearing from people. And my issue with is why is it you have to start a conversation instead of saying, I don't agree with what you said there. The emotion is it starts out with you saying something horrible about me or my family or a guest, and then it's, I'm never going to listen to you again, which is a lie, by the way. It's a massive lie. It's a massive lie. Do you know how many times people send me that, and then they'll tweet me a week later, or they'll text me, or why are you on my radio station? And it's funny. It's like, well, why? Like, what are you upset about? Like, if you're ever engaging these people, which I try not to. I just always wish everybody the best. But if you were to engage somebody, it's like, okay, well, I don't like what you said there. Okay. Well, I said 1,000 things. So you don't like one? So, like, you took a bite, that you had a hamburger and French fries and a shake. You took a bite of a fry. You didn't like it, so you throw everything away? So that's the world we live in now. Out with it. It's over. It's awful. Get out of the. And that's that tribalism that I've talked about. The tribalism that I've talked about is that. And it's frustrating as hell. But you can text the program. And I answer. I tell everybody, like, who's this? Who's answering for Chad? No, it's me. When you get a text, it's from me. When you get a tweet back from me, it's from me. It's from me. Because those things to me are personal, and I don't want anybody in charge of something that, A, can get me in trouble, and B, you're texting to me about something I said. Why should somebody else answer it? Because they didn't say it. Right? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Apparently, Trump was floating around and talking to people and seeking advice. And I said it yesterday. That tweet and the things he said about Manafort, that's at some point in time, he's going to throw Manafort a lifeline. He is. It may not be a year from now, may not be 2 years from now, on his way out maybe. But at some point in time, he's going to say, all right, enough. And the only reason that this is because of me in some ways. You wouldn't have been there because of me. Now, in saying that, you did something wrong. Regardless of why they were looking, they still found something wrong. But he is going to throw something, a lifeline to Manafort. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. The old saying, better to have and not need than need and not have. Nothing is truer than that. And especially when it comes to your car. And that's what Car Shield is vitally important. I had a friend who had Car Shield, and she kept saying, I think I'm going to cancel it. I said, no, don't. She said, I think I'm going to cancel it. My car's only got, 60,000 miles on it. My warranty's just expired. I think I'm going to cancel it. I said, no, you're not, because you never know. She took her car in for an oil change, and the check engine light came on. She thought it was just a little sensor. $2,000 later at the dealership, she's glad she didn't cancel it. They took care of everything right there. She was surprised that she didn't have to take it somewhere else. That's what Car Shield can do for you. The entire process of fixing your car for a cover repair has never been easier. 24/7 roadside assistance. A rental car. She got a rental car for 2 days for free. And, yes, she left it at the dealership. They got there paid directly. Boom. So what are you doing? Yeah, pick up the phone. Call Car Shield now. 800-CAR-6100. Mention code Benson. That's 800-CAR-6100. Mention code Benson. Saves you 10%. Or carshield.com. Carshield.com. Code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. This is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I don't know how you can impeach somebody who's done a great job. I'll tell you what, if I ever got impeached, I think the market would crash. I think everybody would be very poor.
Slow your roll. Do I think the market would have some serious issues? Yes, and I think it would level itself out. Do I think that everybody's going to be very poor? No. Again, slow your roll. While I think you've done a great job with the economy, I do not believe you are the end-all to be-all when it comes to that. So everybody breathe. That was him today on Fox and Friends. By him, I mean President of the United States. I'm going to tell everybody this, and this goes for all sides and everybody out there. Be objective and don't fall in love with politicians or politics or parties. Just be objective. You can like somebody. You can love the actions they've taken in certain situations, but the reality is it's not a win-win, right? And when you love something and you're devoted to it to a certain extent, you will overlook way too much. Just throwing that out there. You can like, just don't love, right? You can date, but just don't marry. How many of you out there have dated and you think, yeah, this he or she's great, but I couldn't marry somebody like this? It's the same thing. And too often what happens is we're blinded by situations to the point where we can't be objective and we can't be honest. Whether it's the left with Obama and the media and the way they treated, or the media and the way they treat Trump and their love for their own belief that they're doing something so great for this country because they're going after Trump to the point of absurdity at times, or whether it's people who are so in love with Trump that they realize he's a flawed person and that not everything he does is perfect and awesome. Just be objective. Nothing wrong with that. But we're afraid because truth. Now, today, Trump spoke, and interestingly enough, we've got a little tete-a-tete going on with the Trumpster and a person he's still pissed at.
Even my enemies say that Jeff Sessions should have told you that he was going to recuse himself, and then you wouldn't have put him in. He took the job, and then he said, I'm going to recuse myself. I said, what kind of a man is this?
Huh? Oh, it's Sessions. Well, you see, the Department of Justice is run by Democrats.
The Dems are very strong in the Justice Department. I put an attorney general that never took control of the Justice Department, Jeff Sessions. Never took control of the Justice Department.
So that's now where that is. Now, he fired back Sessions today and says, hey, slow your roll. We're objective, and this is not political. This is not political. Everything's political. Somebody said the other day, all of these people that work for all of these FBI, CIA, they should be completely non-biased. Like, you're not going to have that. They're human beings. They're going to have political thoughts. You know, you can have a political thought. You could be a Democrat or a Republican. What you need to be is you need people who are honest and are going to deal in that way. Meaning, they may have right leanings, they may have left leanings, but they can look at a situation and go, despite my belief in a political party or ideology, the truth, the facts, the numbers here bear something different in a situation. And at the same time, for those people out there who think that people can be essentially the Peter Strzok's of the world, can be non-biased in situations and completely objective. No, it can go the other way too, as we've seen with the IRS and things of that nature. Look, the Trump thing, it drives me crazy because we're never talking about policy. And the Republicans here, let's remember, we're moving into a midterm. A midterm where there's a lot of strife right now. There are a lot of issues that need to be dealt with, and there are a lot of seats up for grab that 6 months ago, you may say, look, you know what, the Republicans are going to lose some, they're going to win some. There's a lot the Dems have to defend, but, you know, you could see a losing of some seats, but still control. You may see a tsunami. You may not. And remember, a lot can happen between now and November. That's a lifetime in politics. But if you stood back, I was talking to somebody today, hardcore Republican, hardcore. Her and her dad, uber hardcore. And they said, I don't know how they hold it. And I said, yeah. I mean, the reality is this is based on your job, not his job. He's on the ballot because every president is on the ballot, whether people want to believe that or not. Some more than others. But if we're just looking at what you guys have done, we're still waiting for Obamacare to be replaced. Remember that? Repeal, replace, repeal, replace. Still waiting for that. There's a lot of things you haven't done that you thought you were going to do, that you told everybody you were going to do, and that you haven't done. Immigration reform, still waiting. Not saying it's all your fault, but you've fallen short. And Trump is worried. He's worried about the potential of what happens if the Democrats do have essentially a massive blue wave come November, and they feel that they have the right to come after him in a way that has that big I word because they think they got a mandate from the people. Of course he's worried. Absolutely. But we'll see what takes place. But the problem is in this country, where my frustration comes in more so anymore with politics, is the fact that I see too many people who are so tribal and they've fallen in love with something to the point of they're blinded by it. And that's something we can't have. Even our tribes now are splintering off into other little groups because some aren't progressive enough or conservative enough. Some don't support the president enough. So even if you dare speak any ill will or point something out, you get hammered for it. Some are purple tribes. Some are dark red. Some are light blue. Some are powdery blue. Some are dark blue. Some are paisley. It's ridiculous. That's why I say don't fall in love. Fall in like. Nothing wrong with that. And yes, guess what, people out there on the left? You don't have to like somebody to say, well, they're getting the job done. I've worked with a lot of people in my life that I've not liked, but they got the job done. I've worked for a lot of people in my life that I have liked, and guess what? They didn't get the job done. They failed at the job. This demagoguery that we do, and we hand these people, whether it's Trump or Obama or any of these other people, these situations where we put them on the mantle. And we're like, oh, it's ridiculous. It is. It's absolutely ridiculous. I was talking to my friend today. They said, how much longer do you think this Cohen stuff's going to last? Because we live in a world now where it's like that. I said, through the weekend, and then it's going to be gone because Kavanaugh is around the corner. And Kavanaugh is where everybody's going to be focused. Kavanaugh. We got to stop him because the right's going to take control. Plus, the left can go, look at him. Look at him. No sitting president should be indicted. No sitting. This is what Kavanaugh's about. Trump has appointed somebody who's going to protect him, is CYA him. We've got to find some dirt on him. Somewhere out there, there's got to be dirt. Somewhere out there, there's got to be this. Somewhere out this. Because the campaign stuff and the finance, that's really even a reach. Right? That's a big reach there. So we got to find somebody who could. So got to go after Kavanaugh. And that's where everything will be for the next week or so. And then after that, who knows what will take place between now and then. But I do know this. They'll be arguing. They'll be fighting. There'll be name-calling. There'll be threats. It's the same thing. I can tell you through the weekend, there'll be things said on the Sunday shows that are ridiculous and WWE-like, and same thing on CNN, MSNBC, and Fox. People will talk about it come Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, the Kavanaugh, the ramp-up. There'll be stuff that's outrageous. We need to impeach Kavanaugh. It's the only reason he's on there is because he could stop Trump from being in real trouble. People come out and fight on it. It's ridiculous. All the while, immigration's not fixed. All the while, we still have issues within our country when it comes to the cost of medical care. Do you realize that more people are crowdsourcing and crowdfunding medical care than ever before because people can't afford, because it's so out of control and the trough is still filling up and it's not being dealt with. And somehow the Republicans thought, well, if we kind of try and it doesn't work, even though we had 7 years to fix it, guess what? We're just going to go, oh, shucks, and we'll blame everything on the Maverick. Rather than go, okay, you know what? Well, what can we do to fix this? We're done. Immigration, issue's still there, right? DACA, all that stuff. Well, just let the courts figure it out. We'll let them decide what we can and can't do. True. Saves us from having to get yelled at by somebody. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Don't fall in love, fall in like. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here, just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
It's a very healthy consumer environment. I've been doing this for a long time. I think this is the healthiest environment I've ever seen.
That right there is the CEO of Target. Listen to what he said. He was asked today about the economy.
It's a very healthy consumer environment. I've been doing this for a long time. I think this is the healthiest environment I've ever seen.
That's huge. If you're Trump, and you're the Republicans, and you're looking at the midterms, you're saying to self, what do we got going on? Well, we did do the tax thing, right? Got tax reform done. We didn't do immigration. We didn't do repeal and replace, and we've fallen down in a few places, but we've got the economy. And in the end, people look at things when it comes to the economy. And if we can play this right, we can hold some of these seats that are vulnerable. One of those seats that shouldn't have been vulnerable and is now vulnerable is a seat that, quite frankly, is only vulnerable because of the person who is there, Duncan Hunter. If you don't know who this guy is, former Marine, down to San Diego, doing his thing. He and his wife apparently, allegedly, dipped into their campaign to the tune of $250,000.
They couldn't have written this better in Hollywood. This congressman and his wife are accused of using essentially $250,000 to bankroll their own lifestyle out of their campaign pocketbook. Everything from family vacations to Italy to dental bills and school tuition.
Yeah, that's not good. And this area of, because California, you look and it's totally a blue state with a few pockets. You got some central corridor in California that's kind of red. This area here, down by the Marine base, Camp Pendleton, extremely red. Trump won it by 17 points. They've now moved that from a certainty to, people are calling for him to resign. He showed up with his wife today at the courthouse.
Protesters chanting as Duncan Hunter and his wife arrived at a San Diego court, pleading not guilty to illegally spending more than $250,000 in campaign contributions on themselves. Republican Congressman Hunter blames the charges on Democrats.
This is the new Department of Justice. This is the Democrats' arm of law enforcement.
And Duncan Hunter was one of the first, along with Collins in New York, to vocally get out and support Trump. Both of them are in trouble, one with insider trading, and this one here with supposedly spending $250,000. He's used the word witch hunt on more than a few occasions. Where have you heard that before? But it does make people stand up and say, is this going to be an issue here for the Republicans? A seat that they should easily hold in a time when they need to hold as many as possible. He is not resigning, even though a lot of people are saying, hey, you should resign. And people are asking the question, can he even stay?
Even though it's legal to stay in office after both indictment and conviction, they tend to resign.
Yeah, he is not going anywhere, and he says he's going to fight it. So we'll see what happens here. It's just very interesting when you need every last seat you can possibly get to put something out there that may cause an issue. And they said at times his checking accounts were overdrawn, but he was dipping into it. And we'll see. We'll see if this is true. Is this a witch hunt? Is the DOJ completely full of nothing but Democrats and running amok? Not saying it's not possible, But it wouldn't be unheard of for people to dip into campaign funds and do stuff with. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So last night, massive storm. Knocked over a tree in my yard. It was awesome. I think. I don't know. I was asleep. Thank you, MyPillow. Traveling tonight, I have my MyPillow with me. I will sleep like a baby. Oh, indeed. What are you waiting for? Now is the time. I used to never sleep. Now I sleep like I've never slept before. You can do the same thing. This is what MyPillow is doing for you, the Chad Benson Show listeners. A 4-pack. Enjoy 50% off a 4-pack. 2 premium pillows, 2 go-anywhere pillows, total of 4 pillows, 50% off. Call 800-983-4975 or go to MyPillow.com. When you do, use the promo code Benson. What's going to happen there? Well, you're going to get that 4-pack at 50% off. 2 premium pillows, 2 go-anywhere pillows? Heck yeah, sign me up. Go to MyPillow.com, promo code Benson, or call 800-983-4975. 800-983-4975. Molly Tibbetts. Yes, that Molly Tibbetts. She's being used by both sides to fight over immigration, and to me, I find that to be shameful and awful. We'll touch on that, as well as parenting. What is parenting anymore? It's crazy. Bill Burr, the comedian, with Conan O'Brien, talked about parenting last night, and wait till you hear the story out of Illinois that is just insane. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
So, Molly Tibbetts died from essentially being stabbed to death. Some sort of sharp object. Horrible. Then the politics began. Again, ridiculous. And both sides play this game. People have to come out and clarify, make sure that they know. There's several studies out there that say illegal immigrants, in fact, are less likely to commit crimes than people that were born here or who are legal residents or, naturalized citizens. The other side comes out and says, hey, you know what? She died because of this. Somebody tweeted out earlier that she didn't die because it was undocumented. She died because of toxic masculinity. My argument back is, well, if he wasn't here, she wouldn't have died. Crickets. But no, him being undocumented, it wasn't like, oh, I'm undocumented, I should go around killing people. It wasn't that. He was a scumbag, as producer Phil said so quietly, Mayor. He was an a-hole, which is true. He's going to pay the price. He's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. So today, out comes a new White House video. And this is the politics of it that drives me crazy. And it's no coincidence. It says for 34 days, investigators searched for 20-year-old Molly Tibbetts. Yesterday, an illegal alien now charged with first-degree murder led the police to a cornfield where her body was found. The Tibbetts family has permanently been separated. They are not alone. The video's about a minute. Take a listen.
We were permanently separated, not just for a week or a month. I was at home when I got the phone call from the hospital.
He was hit head-on by a repeat illegal alien criminal.
Known gang member came in the back and he fired the gun and struck my son in the arm.
Trying to get away, he drove over my son's body. He backed up, driving over him a second time.
Rear end is estimated 62 miles an hour.
He strangled him and let him go to see if he was breathing. Strangled him over and over and over until death.
And he dragged Matthew a quarter of a mile to his death.
He rear-ended her, killing her.
He went to a field and put Josh out and the gasoline line and lit him on fire.
Previously deported about 1.5 to 2 years before.
This man wasn't supposed to be here.
My separation.
My separation. My separation. My separation.
My separation.
My separation.
My separation is permanent.
Permanent. Permanent. Permanent. Permanent.
Permanent.
Permanent.
Our separation is permanent.
Yeah, and so that's how that video goes. And it's powerful. Let's be real. It's powerful. It's the politics of today. You don't miss a chance. Right? In comedy, they used to say, time plus tragedy equals comedy. In politics, tragedy, straight to politics. The other side of the things, the way you have defending, if you will, is Elizabeth Warren coming out. Now, I will say this, right? I will say this. I think Elizabeth Warren, she said, look, I absolutely feel for the family. I have nothing. There's no doubt in my mind that she feels for the family. But there's no politics in that for her side. There is none. It's all about, hey, what are we going to reunite the people?
Last month, I went down to the border and I saw where children had been taken away from their mothers. I met with those mothers who had been lied to, who didn't know where their children were, who hadn't had a chance to talk to their children. And there was no plan for how they would be reunified with their children.
And people say, well, what about the Tippett family and reunited? What about them? What about them? What about them?
Now, I do agree. Of course, these murders are horrible. They do show a good reason to prevent illegal entry. Because, yes, but for the killers being here illegally, that is the fact. And these two young people would be alive if not for that fact.
And Cuomo actually saying something. Cuomo there. Very interesting. It is frustrating because the politics of this shouldn't be what it is. As I argued earlier with somebody, maybe toxic masculinity played a part in this and he would have killed anywhere in the globe. The reality is, if his toxic masculinity wasn't here, that wouldn't have happened. Am I right? Absolutely. It's sad that we're in this situation. It's sad that we're in a situation where we are so divided on something that could easily be sorted out amongst grown adults who have an actual want to fix something. But they don't. Because with Elizabeth Warren or with the White House, with the right or with the left, the people that lead have no real want. Because what did that video do? It evoked reaction from people on Twitter from both sides. That's all anybody cares about. Because with a reaction comes energy. With energy comes enthusiasm. With enthusiasm will come money. And with that, relevancy. That's it. You have no want. We could we could together, as a group of grown-ass human beings in this country, fix the border issue, sort out who's here, who wants to be here, who loves this country or is using this country as a booty call and wants nothing more than the money and the work, and then eventually they're going to bounce. And who's here that's bad, running from something or bad. It's not going to be a perfect fix. There never is a perfect fix. It's not going to happen. But you know what would happen? Less politicking. And we can't have that if we're politicians. Remember, politicians need to be what? Needed. Neither side wants to fix this issue. So issues like this will only be used to further the divide between the two when we're all sitting here going, wait a minute here. I know we're not going to throw everybody out of here. It's just never going to happen. And I know we're never going to stop the flow of illegal immigration to zero because, again, that's never going to happen. But we could reduce it a ton. We could enforce the laws we have. We could do a lot of things. And again, it won't be perfect. And the way that they do things in politics is if it's not perfect, is the lies they'll tell you. If it's not perfect, we can't do it. If it doesn't make everybody happy, we can't do it. So we just won't do it. And we'll keep trying again. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Elizabeth Warren doesn't want to fix this. The right doesn't want to fix this. Both sides have too much skin in the game, whether it is energizing their base or making the lobbyist happy. The reality is it's politics. That's a problem here. A young woman's dead, maybe because of toxic masculinity. Maybe because he was an a-hole, and no matter where you placed him on earth, he would have been an a-hole, and that's just true. But on the other side of things, if he wasn't there, she wouldn't have been killed. And he wasn't here legally. That's the truth. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. Toxic masculinity. I asked Phil, is there toxic femininity? Is that what it'd be? Would it be femininity? Is there? You ask any man out there, he's like, yeah, I met some toxic females in my life. Right? And can I just say, masculinity is not a bad thing. Somehow along the way, we've got this idea that being masculine is bad. Well, it's toxic anything. I know people that have been in my life and they're toxic. Has nothing to do with their femininity or masculinity. Has all to do with their personality. Why don't we ever talk about toxic personality? Maybe that's what it should be. God, the alt middle, we solve so much crap here. We do. Maybe it's toxic personality, not toxic femininity or masculinity. Your gender has nothing to do with it. It has all to do with you as a human being, as a person, your personality. You're a toxic person. See, gender's out of it. Person. Although, are there people that don't want to be persons? Is that something? Because, I mean, I'm sure somebody's going to be offended by that. Chad, you put me as a person, and I don't want to be a person.
I'm offended.
I want to be you're offended. Damn it, I am offended. Oh, my Lord. God. Swear. And remember this, people who are offended. The next time your kid comes home from college and is offended by your microaggressions about something or something you said while watching the news and you pop off and they're, oh, my God, I'm offended. Just say, your privilege allows you to be offended. Think about that. Your privilege in life, meaning you're here in America, you're going to a great college or you've gone to a great college, you're enjoying your lattes and your iPhones, and you're bitching about how offended you are and stuff when people around the world, well, their lives just kind of suck, period. They're offended by that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Oh, kids, Dollar Shave. People look at Chad Benson and they say, Chad, why do you shave so well? I say it's simple, kids. Dollar Shave Club. It's amazing. They're executive razors, the 6 blades. That's what it sounds like on my face. This is what they're doing for you. So they've got this Daily Essential Starter set. You can choose any of the sets, right? I've got the Amber Lavender Body Cleanser set that started with, and it was amazing. You could start with whatever. There's no loss. There's no bad answer. All of them are great answers. But what Dollar Shave gives you is everything you need to look, smell, and feel delicious. Right now, $5. That's what your membership is. $5, free shipping. Are you ready? Can you handle that? Can you handle the great razor? Can you handle that? Yeah, I think you can. Are you ready for it? You know you are. So this is what I want you to do. Head over to dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. Order now, right? $5. Pick whatever set you want after that product ship at normal price. Still dirt cheap, and you're going to look amazing. dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. You will not be disappointed. In fact, you will call me. You will text me. You will tweet at me how amazing you feel, smell, and look DollarShaveClub.com/Chad. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. Oh, kids, what will nature do to you? Say what? Chad Benson Show.
Deep states? No. Deep doo-doo? Yeah. The Chad Benson Show.
This is 911. What's the address of the emergency?
Hernando Lake Community Park got attacked by a gator. Need medical attention.
The 911 call came in the middle of the night. A woman attacked by an alligator while swimming in a Florida lake.
It's bleeding. I'm freaking out. I'm sorry.
Florida Fish and Wildlife says a 5 to 6 foot alligator bit 24-year-old Felicity Marie Gillette and pulled her underwater. Gillette somehow fought it off and survived.
She survived. She did. She's homeless, too, so it's a lose-lose everywhere, right? Like, that's just got to suck. Like, when people are like, wow, what? Wow. That's a bad day. So you're homeless, and producer Phil, remind everybody again about nature. What will nature do to you?
Mr. Benson, nature will mess you up.
Mess you up. And it did. But she got away. And it's awful, but Florida's one of those places, right? First of all, it's Florida. So it's always fun. Secondly, and I love Florida, it's beautiful. Been out there on numerous occasions. No state tax, right? Some weird stuff. You step in a puddle in Florida, you better watch out because you may get bit. They are everywhere, and nature will mess you up. It will. Case in point, poor Blaine Shelton here. Blaine got bit a couple weeks ago by a shark. 200 yards from show, Crystal Beach, hanging out, having fun. Beautiful Texas. What happens? He gets bit 200 yards offshore, bit by probably a bull shark, I would assume. Shows the pictures, right? It's got a great story. It's okay. Just above the knee and thigh. Gonna survive. Nasty. I mean, it's nasty. Don't get me wrong. It's nasty. But story doesn't end there. Because you see what happens is, after a while, Blake's leg starts to hurt. And he finally has trouble walking. Pain gets so bad, goes to the hospital. They tell him, you've got the flesh-eating bacteria. So it goes from bad to worse for Blake because, once again, nature can mess you up. And not just nature that bites, sometimes nature that floats around. And that's what happened. You got to be careful out there. Nature, again, will mess you up. I love how people like Jack, my son's a perfect example. I'll never go in the ocean because of sharks. I'm like, Jack, the chance of you getting bit by a shark are so slim. You can't even, it's so ridiculous. You have a better chance of getting hit by lightning kind of things. And the things that we take for granted, we're terrified of sharks, right? But bee stings and all this stuff, these things are ladders. Ladders are going to kill far more people. Well, really, it's not the ladder that kills. It's not like a ladder's like, dude, you didn't hear about this ladder? Oh, yeah, it's killing everybody. It's like, what? Yeah. Yeah, it's on America's Most Wanted. He's on Life PD. This ladder's just running around, just killing people. It's idiots, right, that end up dying because of the ladder. But we don't care about that. We don't. It is funny. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. By the way, this poor guy, $100,000 in medical bills so far. They're raising money from, they got a GoFundMe page. And, it's awful. It is. And the more that, the more people hear stories like this, because I don't think anybody should go broke. And we're going to get we're going to take a deeper dive tomorrow into single payer and some of the things that another one of those things that we talk about that we should be looking at fixing and sorting out that we don't really do because the money's in the problem. It's like the people say the money's in the disease, it's never in the cure. It's the same thing. For politics, the money's in the politics, not solving the problems at hand. Immigration, all of these things, Obamacare, medical, whatever you want to call it this week. There's no money in that. There's money in the problem, like racism. I know that sounds weird, but for a lot of people out there, there's people who make a living off these kind of things. It drives me crazy, drives you crazy, drives everybody crazy. We never want to get to the nitty-gritty of what it is the issue so we can solve it. Because if we do, they're no longer relevant and the money stops flowing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Love hearing from you. Happy day before Donut Friday. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I don't know how you can impeach somebody who's done a great job. I'll tell you what, if I ever got impeached, I think the market would crash. I think everybody would be very poor.
Slow your roll. Do I think the market would have some serious issues? Yes, and I think it would level itself out. Do I think that everybody's going to be very poor? No. Again, slow your roll. While I think you've done a great job with the economy, I do not believe you are the end-all to be-all when it comes to that. So everybody breathe. That was him today on Fox and Friends. By him, I mean President of the United States. I'm going to tell everybody this, and this goes for all sides and everybody out there. Be objective and don't fall in love with politicians or politics or parties. Just be objective. You can like somebody. You can love the actions they've taken in certain situations, but the reality is it's not a win-win, right? And when you love something and you're devoted to it to a certain extent, you will overlook way too much. Just throw that out there. You can like, just don't love, right? You can date, but just don't marry. How many of you out there have dated and you think, yeah, this he or she's great, but I couldn't marry somebody like this? It's the same thing. And too often what happens is we're blinded by situations to the point where we can't be objective and we can't be honest. Whether it's the left with Obama and the media and the way they treated, or the media and the way they treat Trump and their love for their own belief that they're doing something so great for this country because they're going after Trump to the point of absurdity at times, or whether it's people who are so in love with Trump that they realize he's a flawed person and that not everything he does is perfect and awesome. Just be objective. Nothing wrong with that. But we're afraid because truth. Now, today, Trump spoke, and interestingly enough, we've got a little tete-a-tete going on with the Trumpster and a person he's still pissed at.
Even my enemies say that Jeff Sessions should have told you that he was going to recuse himself, and then you wouldn't have put him in. He took the job, and then he said, I'm going to recuse myself. I said, what kind of a man is this?
Huh? Oh, it's Sessions. Well, you see, the Department of Justice is run by Democrats.
The Dems are very strong in the Justice Department. I put an attorney general that never took control of the Justice Department, Jeff Sessions. Never took control of the Justice Department.
So that's now where that is. Now, he fired back Sessions today and says, hey, slow your roll. We're objective, and this is not political. This is not political. Everything's political. Somebody said the other day, all of these people that work for all of these FBI, CIA, they should be completely non-biased. Like, you're not going to have that. They're human beings. They're going to have political thoughts. You know, you can have a political thought You could be a Democrat or a Republican. What you need to be is you need people who are honest and are going to deal in that way. Meaning they may have right leanings. They may have left leanings, but they can look at a situation and go, despite my belief in a political party or ideology, the truth, the facts, the numbers here bear something different in a situation. And at the same time, for those people out there who think that people can be essentially the Peter Strzok's of the world, can be non-biased in situations and completely objective, no, it can go the other way too, as we've seen with the IRS and things of that nature. Look, the Trump thing, it drives me crazy because we're never talking about policy. And the Republicans here, let's remember, we're moving into a midterm. A midterm where there's a lot of strife right now. There are a lot of issues that need to be dealt with. And there are a lot of seats up for grab that 6 months ago, you may say, look, you know what? Republicans are going to lose some. They're going to win some. There's a lot the Dems have to defend. But, you know, you could see a losing of some seats, but still control. You may see a tsunami. You may not. And remember, a lot can happen between now and November. That's a lifetime in politics. But if you stood back, I was talking to somebody today, hardcore Republican, hardcore. Her and her dad, uber hardcore. And they said, I don't know how they hold it. And I said, yeah. I mean, the reality is this is based on your job, not his job. He's on the ballot because every president is on the ballot, whether people want to believe that or not. Some more than others. But if we're just looking at what you guys have done, we're still waiting for Obamacare to be replaced. Remember that? Repeal, replace, Still waiting for that. There's a lot of things you haven't done that you thought you were going to do, that you told everybody you were going to do, and that you haven't done. Immigration reform, still waiting. Not saying it's all your fault, but you've fallen short. And Trump is worried. He's worried about the potential of what happens if the Democrats do have essentially a massive blue wave come November, and they feel that they have the right to come after him in a way that has that big I word because they think they got a mandate from the people. Of course he's worried. Absolutely. But we'll see what takes place. But the problem is in this country, where my frustration comes in more so anymore with politics, is the fact that I see too many people who are so tribal and they've fallen in love with something to the point of they're blinded by it. And that's something we can't have. Even our tribes now are splintering off into other little groups because some aren't progressive enough or conservative enough. Some don't support the president enough. So even if you dare speak any ill will or point something out, you get hammered for it. Some are purple tribes. Some are dark red. Some are light blue. Some are powdery blue. Some are dark blue. Some are paisley. It's ridiculous. That's why I say don't fall in love. Fall in like. Nothing wrong with that. And yes, guess what, people out there on the left? You don't have to like somebody to say, well, they're getting the job done. I work with a lot of people in my life that I've not liked, but they got the job done. I work for a lot of people in my life that I have liked, and guess what? They didn't get the job done. They failed at the job. This demagoguery that we do, and we hand these people, whether it's Trump or Obama or any of these other people, these situations where we put them on the mantle. And we're like, oh, it's ridiculous. It is. It's absolutely ridiculous. I was talking to my friend today. They said, how much longer do you think this Cohen stuff's going to last? Because we live in a world now where it's like that. I said, through the weekend. And then it's going to be gone because Kavanaugh is around the corner. And Kavanaugh is where everybody's going to be focused. Kavanaugh. We got to stop him because the right's going to take control. Plus, the left can go, look at him. No sitting president should be indicted. This is what Kavanaugh's about. Trump has appointed somebody who's going to protect him, is CYA him. We've got to find some dirt on him. Somewhere out there, there's got to be dirt. Somewhere out there, there's got to be this. Somewhere out this. Because the campaign stuff and the finance, that's really even a reach. Right? That's a big reach there. So we got to find somebody who could. So got to go after Kavanaugh. And that's where everything will be for the next week or so. And then after that, who knows what will take place between now and then. But I do know this. They'll be arguing. They'll be fighting. There'll be name-calling. There'll be threats. It's the same thing. I can tell you through the weekend, there'll be things said on the Sunday shows that are ridiculous and WWE-like, and same thing on CNN, MSNBC, and Fox. People will talk about it come Monday. Tuesday, Wednesday, the Kavanaugh, the ramp-up. There'll be stuff that's outrageous. We need to impeach Kavanaugh. It's the only reason he's on there is because he could stop Trump from being in real trouble. People come out and fight on it. It's ridiculous. All the while, immigration's not fixed. All the while, we still have issues within our country when it comes to the cost of medical care. Do you realize that more people are crowdsourcing and crowdfunding medical care than ever before because people can't afford, because it's so out of control and the trough is still filling up and it's not being dealt with? And somehow the Republicans thought, well, if we kind of try and it doesn't work, even though we had 7 years to fix it, guess what? We're just going to go, oh, shucks, and we'll blame everything on the maverick. Rather than go, okay, you know what? Well, what can we do to fix this? We're done. Immigration, issues still there, right? DACA, all that stuff. Well, just let the courts figure it out. We'll let them decide what we can and can't do. Phew, saves us from having to get yelled at by somebody. Ridiculous. Don't fall in love, fall in like. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet along with us. Hey, your car, you take it in for an oil change. My friend did this, took it into the dealership. And she was totally surprised because they said she had one of those little check engine light things come on, but she thought that's a sensor or something like that. Or, so she takes it in and it was like $2,000 worth of stuff. And she thought, oh, I need an oil change and it's some sort of little sensor. It'll be fine. She thought, well, it's the car's just out of warranty. There's no way. Because everybody always jokes like the minute your car goes out of warranty, woo, it falls apart. So it only had like 68,000 miles on it, something like that. So it ends up being like $2,096 or something. And so when she took it in there, I told her forever, get Car Shield. So she got Car Shield, and she's like, I don't know if I'm ever going to use it. She even said one day, I think I might dump it. I said, no, don't. She goes, are you sure? I said, absolutely. So long story short, they handled it for her. Boom. Almost $2,100 right there. Boom. And she thought, okay, well, there's a problem. I got to call Car Shield. She goes, that was easy. And she goes, they let me do it here at the dealership? They didn't tell me I had to take it somewhere? I said, no. It's the beauty of it. The beauty of Car Shield and extended vehicle protection, the entire process of your covered repairs is handled so easy. She got a rental car for 2 days for free. She took it to the dealership, which she thought they were going to have to take it somewhere else. They got them paid directly. And by the way, just in case, they've got 24/7 roadside assistance. So save yourself thousands of future car repairs. Do what I've did and so many others are doing. Get extended vehicle protection. Call 800-CAR-6100. That's 800-CAR-6100. When you do, mention my code Benson. That's going to save you 10%. Or go online to carshield.com. That's carshield.com. Save yourself 10% right there using code Benson. A deductible may apply. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to Chad. No, not the country. The institution. The Chad Benson Show.
Turn it up. Ed King died today. You don't know who he is. He was part of Lynrd Skynrd. You can hear him in there. Turn it up. 1, 2, 3, playing along. He co-wrote this song. He was a hippie from California. Played on 3 albums. He and Ronnie had some issues because he was a hippie from California. Wasn't a Southern boy. Wasn't from Jacksonville. He wrote Incense and Peppermint and was part of that super awesome Strawberry Alarm Clock. That's got to be awesome, though, if you think about it. Just to have, like you've joked about it all the time, producer Phil, all you need is one, right? Just to have one hit.
I'm still waiting for mine.
You know, here's a question for you, all right? Would you rather have a successful career, 2 or 3 albums that are really good and you lost some longevity, or would you rather have one massive, huge hit that you'll always be remembered for?
I want the paycheck.
Yeah, I would want the hit, right? And for me, somebody asked me one time, what would you rather have? I said, you know what I'd rather have? I'd rather have a Christmas hit. If you can have a Christmas hit, you're guaranteed always to be played for at least 6 or 8 weeks out of the year, all the time, right? Because you have the Macarena and stuff like that. It's a joke, and you can have some fun with it and all those kind of things. But the reality is, if you have that Christmas hit that's huge, it's forever, right? Grandma got run over a reindeer. It's almost September. Then there's going to be October, and we'll have some Halloween hits. That could be one, too. Yeah. But, man, then comes November. All those stations start flipping, right? And then you've got that 6 weeks where you will pile in the cash. That's what you want. Because summer themes, they come and go, right? But that Christmas hit, oh, kid, that could be forever. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Oh, so, as we talk about all of this stuff with Cohen, and by the way, a great article yesterday in the Wall Street Journal about Michael Cohen, and today Trump used the word flipped, which I wouldn't have said,
President Trump, in an interview with Fox News, making it crystal clear he's not happy that his former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, made a deal with federal prosecutors.
But if somebody defrauded a bank and he's going to get 10 years in jail or 20 years in jail, but if you can say something bad about Donald Trump and you'll go down to 2 years or 3 years, which is the deal he made.
The president says people make up stories to get out of legal trouble.
It's called flipping, and it almost ought to be illegal.
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I don't think flipping should be illegal. But he's right about one thing. People do tend to embellish stories because they're handlers, if you will. They want to make them happy. But I listened to him and I say that today, and I'm just like, wow. But, I read this great article about Michael Cohen. They were coming after his wife because she had signed off on the taxes. They filed joint, so they were coming hard. And that was one of the reasons. Remember, the tax stuff is the biggest reason he's in trouble. The campaign finance stuff would have probably been a slap on the wrist. Still, if you think about it, flipping, I wouldn't have used flipping. Turned might have been a better word, Mr. President. It's the Chad Benson Show. Yes.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
So we were just talking about the one-hit wonders, and would you rather have one hit or have a sustained career that really wasn't awful or bad? Check this out. So the guy who wrote My Sharona, and I find this stuff to be so interesting. Every once in a while we don't talk about politics, we talk about other stuff in life. So the guy who wrote My Sharona, by the way, I don't know if you're aware of this, the Knack's debut album, 11 days, $17,000, that's what it cost. But get ready for this. That song was written, produced 15 minutes, and they mixed it in 15 minutes, including the lead vocals, which was a single take. Burton Avere, who was the lead singer, and Doug Feiger, they wrote the song. And so if you think, okay, do they make any money off this? And they said, look, rather than perform the song, where the money's at is the writing of the song. So every year he says, hey, we use My Sharona, we sell it to advertisers and movies and all kinds of stuff. We get $200,000 a pop. $200,000. He goes, I get 50%, the publishing company gets 50%. People ask me, what do you do for a living? He says, I go to the mailbox and collect checks 2 or 3 times a month. Probably makes about $500,000. So it's about writing the song. So if you want to wonder what a one-hit wonder is, if you write the song and you perform the song, he says, on top of that, I get to go perform the song and they pay me $20,000 a night. Not bad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. That's why I say, man, if you got a Christmas song, it's forever. But if you've got a song that is like, In Your Eyes, how many movies has that damn song been in? So many. Anything that they can play on a commercial, still cashing checks from Take On Me. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. So yesterday, Urban Meyer. We live in the culture now of Me Too and all of these things. And, after OJ, everything changed and then it changed again. And now we're in the Me Too culture. And we're in this, you are in trouble and you are punished. We'll find out the facts later. OSU, Ohio State, took a different route. Yesterday, they announced their findings of Urban Meyer. So here's one of the top football coaches who had a coach named Zach Smith who had issues, domestic violence with his then wife. And he reported it the first time when he was at Florida. The second time, it was a little bit more dicey and sketchy. And then they had decided to fire him after things started coming out and a piece in ESPN came out. And so you thought, Urban Meyer's caught up in this. He's going to be gone. Let me tell you guys something. Talent will always get a chance to stick around longer than people who have, their sold by date has passed them. Right? Harvey Weinstein didn't eventually fall apart until he wasn't worth anything, meaning his power was gone. His hit-making skills weren't there anymore. So he was a wounded animal, much easier to take on. Ohio State is one of the top 2 or 3 college football teams in the country. He's the second most popular and arguably the most talented coach in college football and recruiting. And guess what? He's not gone.
Urban Meyer is suspended through September 2nd, 2018, and for the games on September 1st, 8th, and 15th.
That's it. The president right there. 3-game suspension. 3-game suspension for the cover-up, if you will. What? 3 games? Yeah. Because he's talented. Because he's a winner. Because he's successful. OSU looked around and said, we're in a great place. All right. Urban didn't do anything. He made mistakes. He made some mistakes.
I want to state clearly that we believe Urban Meyer did not and does not condone domestic abuse. However, he did fail to take sufficient management action regarding Zach Smith.
Made mistakes. I never once thought he condoned it. Tried to help the guy. All right? One time. But like everything else, tried to cover some stuff up. Stuff that he didn't do. He didn't beat a woman. He didn't do any of those things. Should he have done more? Yeah, he should have done more. Absolutely, he should have done more. But you see, he's a winner. We're not going to get rid of winners. OSU looks around and says, dude, we're Ohio State again. We are the Ohio State. We are in the playoff picture every single year. We have the top 1 or 2 recruiting classes almost every single year. It's a bit of a hometown boy. This guy If he was 6-6, if he was 7-5, if he got to mid-level bowl games, his ass would have been out. Cut, zip, gone. But we're 10-1, 11-1, 11-0. We're heading to the national championship game all the time. You can book it. We're going to a BCS game, potentially the playoffs again this year. Hard to walk away from that. Hard to walk away from that. Now, if he would have beat his wife, different story. In today's age, yeah. 10 years ago, probably still would have been around, would have got treatment. But if you win, if you have talent, people will overlook situations. They'll overlook certain things. The thing we were just talking about. Don't fall in love, fall in like. People love him. Did he do anything wrong? That was the big thing. It's like, did he do anything wrong? Well, he didn't report it, which is what he should have done. But did he beat her? No. Did he condone it? No. He tried to handle it in-house and went about it the wrong way. And people look, especially, don't think that the boosters didn't have a play in this. They're looking around saying, we give a lot of money to this school. And we like winning. And he didn't do it. And he was trying to help some guy who was beyond help, and that was his bad. And for that, he should be reprimanded. But firing, whoa, let's slow our roll. Let's just slow down for a second. Right? Slow our roll. Now, the question is, did he learn from this?
I followed my heart, not my head. I fell short in pursuing full information because at each juncture, I gave Zach Smith the benefit of the doubt.
And he let you down. But somebody asked a question last night about Zach Smith's wife. I want you to hear his answer here because I'm still not quite sure he gets it.
What message do you have for Courtney Smith?
Well, I have a message for everyone involved in this. I'm sorry that we're in this situation. I'm just sorry we're in this situation.
What about Shelley's text messages? Why were you not concerned from her messages about this situation?
I was not aware of Shelley's text messages at the time.
Plausible deniability. My wife got text messages from his wife and all of those things. So maybe I didn't get those and that was something they were handling and I didn't understand how bad it was. And look, they found some reasons to be worried. But where he failed right there is when they said, what message do you have for Courtney Smith, Zach's ex-wife? The one who was running, the one who was terrified, the one who got a restraining order. What message do you have? The one who was pregnant with their child and he assaulted her. What message do you have? I'm sorry that we're involved in this, and I'm sorry to everyone. That wasn't the question. The question was, what do you have to say to her? Did he get it? I don't know if he gets it. But when you're 11-1 and 12-0 constantly, and you're in the big games, and you're beating Michigan, and you're playing in the biggest stages in college football, which means more revenue for the program, which means more revenue for other sports, which means higher enrollment, people are willing to give you another chance. People are. Absolutely. People are willing to overlook things because people are falling in love. And when you fall in love, you overlook. When you fall in love, you'll turn a blind eye to certain situations that you may not agree with. Doing the right thing all the time is tough. It is. Look, I applaud him the first time when he was in Florida and he tried to do the right thing for this guy and help them and maybe thought it was a one-off situation. But when he showed you the second time who he was, and then at that point in time, you thought to yourself, man, I really need him, or I feel sorry for him, or whatever it is that you were doing, you failed. You knew who he was. But for whatever reason, you thought he was going to help you win football games. But when you win in football games, it's like anything else. That's what happens when you fall in love. You turn a blind eye. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. AMAC. Who? AMAC. Is that a guy? No. Association of Mature American Citizens. The answer to ARP. That left-leaning Goliath. You know who you are out there, ARP. I'm looking at you. Let me tell you what AMAC's doing for you. First and foremost, when we started partnering together, I said, hey, I got a great idea. I love what you guys are doing. I love the fact that you guys are the answer to that left-leaning behemoth out there. Why don't you do my listeners a solid and give them a year membership for free? They said, all right, deal. Politically, they're going to go out there and advocate for what you believe in. Common sense immigration reform, right? Social Security reform done right. Repealing and replacing Obamacare, Medicare, things like that. But membership-wise, I can't even list all the things they do. Retail, restaurant, travel, discounts, check. How about this? This alone is worth it. And the fact that you're not paying for it is doubly worth it. 40% off Disneyland and Disney World, Legoland, SeaWorld. You get where I'm going with this? 40% off movie tickets. Yeah, just to name a few. The benefits alone are insane. So what are you waiting for? It doesn't cost you a penny. Join today. Go to amac.us/Chad. That's amac.us/Chad. No cost, no tricks, no credit card required. It's free. A membership for a year for free. And the benefits are insane. amac.us/Chad or call 888-355-1668. That's 888-355-1668 or online at amac.us/Chad. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. Tiger and Phil are going to tee it up. Wait till you hear what they're going to do. All right, you ready for that? Plus, I got your useless fact of the day straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
Your show, F is for Family, I relate to it because it's about parenting in the 70s, and that was when I was parented like you. What do you think of parents now? How do you compare them to parents in the 70s?
Oh, it's just completely, the kids have so much power. It's like ridiculous. Like half of these kids, I'm like, I look and I just have what happened to me. And I'm like looking at a kid and be like, this kid's about ready to get punted across the grocery store. And it just never happens.
Right.
They just don't get hit. And I think it's hurting this country.
Oh, Bill Burr. I love this. Talking about a show, F for Family, and he was on with Conan. And you know what? There's some reality in that. There's some reality in that. There's a great quote out there that says, raise your children, you could spoil your grandkids. Spoil your children, you'll raise your grandkids. And I look back at our generation, and when you think about it, all of us got a whack at some point in time, right? Like my mom had this like plastic brush, right? It was like porcupine on one side and the other was hard plastic on the other. And it was a kind where like if you left it in the car in the heat, it would kind of warp. And I'm telling, like she was like a ninja. It was like Master of the Flying Guillotine, but with this, she would snap it off you and somehow it would come back to her and she'd catch it. And I'd be like, oh my God, right? It was insane. It was. We don't have that anymore. And kids do because we now, and it's funny to watch parents nowadays who parent in a way that it's like we're all equal. No, we're not. Right? We're not. We're not all equal. We're not. I'm dad. I'm dad tater. This is a dictatorship. She's mom tater. Like in the end, we want you to grow, right? We totally want you to grow. We want you to step further and further away from the nest. We want you to be independent, but there's going to be steps along the way. But nowadays, it's like, no, I'm completely independent, except for the part where you can't go outside and you can't do anything. It's nuts.
A lot of the stuff that I look at from when I was a kid that actually kind of made sense in a way would now be considered like abuse, I guess. Like when I was a kid, if you didn't finish your supper, as we called it, my mother was just like, well, you're going to finish, she would just wrap it in cellophane and you just picked up where you left off for breakfast.
Yeah, good God. I remember one time, and my grandfather, I hated lima beans, and my grandfather and I had a standoff one time when I was over at his house. And my grandfather was one of these people that, before he passed, kids should only be seen. They should never be heard. I sat at the table for 3 hours. 3 hours. Because I wouldn't eat my lima beans and stuff. It was, nowadays, it would be like, oh, well, let's have a talk about it. Let's have a discussion about it. Oh, no. It's ridiculous. It is. When you think about it, the ridiculousness of the way we parent nowadays, when we look at kids and we're like, we're equals. We're not equals. We're not.
We know what's hilarious was my mother just popped up and just immediately started cleaning up, and my dad just kept eating. Like he didn't like the roles were defined back then. Now the guy has to throw the milk, he has to clean it up while telling his wife she's brave for just sitting there.
Oh God. It's true. Everything's all sideways, backwards, and upside down. But don't say anything, because that will be offensive. And we know we don't want to offend anybody. Oh, sweet mamma jamma. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Go to thechadshow.com. Grab your podcast. I think Louis Hyman, Cornell University's book. Very interesting book. Check it out. It is about temp. The American dream. Is it temporary? Is that what we are now? This gig economy. We got a new American dream. Check out his book. Check out thechadshow.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on the old Twitter. Your useless fact of the day. Mickey and Minnie Mouse, you know they were married. But what you didn't know, when Rusty Taylor became the voice of Minnie Mouse in 86, she fell in love with Wayne Allwine, the voice of Mickey Mouse. They got married in 91 and stayed married until his death in 2009. Ho-ho! Have a wonderful day. Night-night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.